This is the 1990 VHS release of the 1989 Disney classic, The Little Mermaid. This tape has become somewhat infamous over the years. Why? Well...
That's a pig. That's ridiculous. There's no way this majestic tower can be confused with the male organ of love. You got any other ideas?
Through initial word of mouth, radio hosts, local papers, and eventually the internet, a wild story formed that this phallic spire was drawn by a disgruntled artist who had been wrongfully terminated by Disney, and they painted this man monument as an act of petty penile revenge. Sometimes the artist is depicted as gay, sometimes he's a spiteful Satanist.
This is why you're going to hell.
Satan?
No matter the perpetrator, Disney had to right this ridiculous wrong. So they recalled all of the VHS tapes, issuing new artwork, making this original shimmering shaft edition extremely rare and valuable. That's the legend. But the truth, involving an exhausted artist with an impossible deadline, is much more interesting.
Dad? What's that?
It looks like a giant. Willie, what's that?
That looks just like my husband.
One night! Come on, whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad.
I think that was really the moment that I realized this was kind of a full-blown scandal.
Bill Morrison is an American artist from Michigan, mostly known for co-founding Bongo Comics along with Simpsons creator Matt Groening. But he began his career as an illustrator for movie posters. Hey, that's what this channel's about. Morrison worked for BD Fox Advertising, and he was involved in creating several iconic horror posters from the 1980s, including Blood Diner, Return of the Living Dead, Fright Night, and this absolutely visceral movie poster for the 1985 film House. I've always loved this one. Later, Morrison was hired by Willardson Associates, and that is when he started painting movie posters for Disney. Back in the 80s, Disney would re-release one of their classic films exclusively to theaters, and they'd commission new movie posters to advertise them. And Morrison created posters for a whole bunch of Disney classics: Cinderella, Peter Pan, The Jungle Book, Lady and the Tramp, all the hits. Then, he gets a shot at a brand new Disney film. A film that would completely revitalize the Disney animation brand and usher in a huge wave of critically cherished films and total box office domination.
Walt Disney Pictures' The Little Mermaid.
Before the release of The Little Mermaid, Disney Animation was facing a crisis. Their earlier 80s offering, The Black Cauldron, was the most expensive animated film ever made at that time and was also a huge box office bomb. The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company fared better, but it was still make or break time for the animation department. Renowned poster artist John Alvin created this teaser poster for The Little Mermaid, which they even animated in this trailer for the film. And then, Disney released Bill Morrison's main US one sheet. Morrison brings a lot of energy to this poster. It's literally splashy and very vibrant. The details pop against the ocean blue hues, and there's a lot to take in without it being needlessly busy. The poster follows the classic mountain or triangle design philosophy, with Ariel front and center. The other characters surround her as this coral castle is rising up from... Wait a minute.
That looks just like an enormous...
Johnson. Yes, sir. Get on the horn to British intelligence and let them know about this.
Yeah, that's right. It was in the original poster. There it is, maybe 4 or 5 times the size of the one on the VHS.
So big.
I've seen bigger.
Disney loved this design so much that it was used for all of the international posters. So this shiny shaft actually traveled the world, except for Japan, where they drew their own version for some reason. Also, you can see this sparkling spire in the movie. It's on screen for 6 whole seconds. No one complained about the poster. It was never banned or requested to be changed in any way. And Disney has never altered this scene in the movie. Across all media releases from VHS right up to Disney Plus, no one cared about Mountain.
We've got here. See, nobody cares.
Here's a photo of Bill Morrison next to his painting, while it was part of the Disney Archives exhibit at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. This thing has been hung in several museums without issue.
Nobody cares.
The Little Mermaid was released to theaters in November of 1989, and it went on to become the 9th highest grossing film of that year. It garnered extensive critical acclaim, including 2 Academy Awards, and is widely regarded as a high point for Disney animation. Just 6 months later, Disney decided to release the film on home video, a somewhat new strategy. Home video was becoming a major market, and The Little Mermaid was poised to be one of the biggest releases of the year. Disney Home Video's art director wanted to reuse Morrison's poster artwork for the VHS box art, but there was a problem. He didn't know who had painted this poster artwork in the first place. According to the article that Bill Morrison wrote for the website 13thdimension.com, Disney Home Video was in a different building in a different part of town from Disney Feature Films, so the communication between the two wasn't so great. Their print deadline for the VHS covers was fast approaching, and you know what? I'll let Bill himself tell the rest of this story.
My boss took me aside and he said, "Can you work on this and do it over the weekend? It's due at the printer on Monday." This was a Friday. I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Just pulled a couple of all-nighters and just worked through the weekend. And I spent a lot of time on the characters, not so much time on the background.
The overall composition is very close to his original poster, but Ariel's posture and expression have changed, and the prince looks less confused about the whole mermaid situation. Now he has more of a just go with it vibe. Morrison copied the rest directly from his original poster and painted the coral castle at around 3 a.m. the morning it was due.
And I think it was just kind of leaving out some of the detail. It just sort of exposed, for lack of a better word, exposed this one particular tower as looking very phallic.
Regardless, Disney Home Video signed off on the artwork and sent it to print. I wonder if Bill Morrison was like, "Ooh, what a night, I'm going to bed." I wonder if I inadvertently painted something in here that's going to be talked about decades later by some bald on YouTube. Disney sold 7 million copies of the Little Mermaid VHS release in the first month of sales alone. 7 million. Disney fans had been well trained by this point to buy anything that Disney put out immediately before it was put back in the Disney vaults and not available anymore.
Get these timeless classic Disney videos before time runs out.
Uh-oh, I think we waited too long. The last one looks like it's gone.
This contributed massively to the overall $1 billion that Disney took in from the film. A big shift from the meager $21 million they took in from The Black Cauldron just 4 years earlier. The Disney Renaissance had begun. They were flying high. They could do no wrong.
Nothing's gonna stop us now.
Hey, so we saw the new videotape.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
You've seen it, right?
Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
How do I put this? If there's an opportunity to work in a phallic shape.
It never occurred to me that it looked like a but after it was pointed out to me, of course, I was like, oh, it really does. I think that was really the moment that I realized this was, kind of a full-blown scandal.
Oh, God.
As the story goes, a woman from Arizona, where?
Tucson, Arizona.
She noticed the offending phallus on the VHS cover, brought it back to her local supermarket, and demanded they stop selling them. That story was picked up by the local media and spread from there.
We're all trying to find the guy who did this.
But Disney never recalled these VHS tapes. By 1993, they had sold 13 million copies, and they never changed the artwork or released some different version of that initial VHS. However, it looks like they did tweak the spire for the Laserdisc release. Disney did release the film on VHS again, but that was 8 years later as a restored THX version. The DVD and Blu-ray also featured new artwork. They never went back to Bill Morrison's original. So where the did this bizarre story come from? That this thing is banned, recalled, rare, and valuable. None of that is true.
One of the early versions I heard was that the artist who did it, the reason he was fired was because Disney found out he was gay, and they caught him performing satanic rituals in the office after hours.
Bill Morrison was never disgruntled, and he was not fired by Disney. They understood it was an honest mistake and even hired him to do the poster for their next film, The Rescuers Down Under.
May I just say enchanté, señorita, to you? May I?
Underrated movie. Morrison is not gay, nor is he a practicing Satanist, so where did this come from? Brandolini's law states that the amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than that needed to create it. In other words, it's a lot easier to tell a lie than it is to effectively refute one.
The rules were that you guys weren't going to fact check, and since you're fact checking me,
the idea of a crazed, spiteful Disney employee drawing on movie posters is really interesting.
Draw pictures of
It's very engaging. I know that because you're watching this video. The idea that these tapes were recalled and they're wondrously rare and valuable is super titillating, especially if you happen to have one of these lying around in your parents' basement. Could this be your millennial retirement plan?
You got any other ideas?
Just listen to this 1992 interview with Disney home video spokesperson Steve Feldstein.
I heard it was a disgruntled employee.
That's totally false.
Is it true there's a second edition with different art?
Also untrue. There's only one piece of artwork. If you want, you can find something phallic in anything. If you want to see that tower as something other than it is, you're going to.
I found a Screen Rant article from 2024 that still spouts some of these same stories. It was never recalled, it was never changed, it was never banned.
My wife, she's an actor, and she was doing a show and was in the dressing room, and they were talking about this degenerate Disney artist who put this phallic image in a children's video cassette cover. And she finally decides to go over and just set them straight. So she walks over and says, "Excuse me, my husband is actually the artist. He had a really short deadline and he didn't have time to put in all these details that are on the tower and blah, 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 blah." And the woman looks at her, kind of takes a beat and goes, "I don't think so."
It takes a lot more energy to explain the truth of this story than that juicy, scandalous lie. This is especially true when the lie rings as true, which in this case it kinda does. Disney does not have a perfect track record when it comes to their VHS releases. One of their earlier titles, 1977's The Rescuers, was found to have 2 frames of a topless woman spliced into the film, and it made it onto the 1999 VHS release. It was included in the original film print as a joke, with the animators confident that no one would ever see it, and no one did until 22 years later. That tape was recalled, all 3.4 million copies of them, but it's not rare and won't fund your retirement. In the 90s, a fundamentalist Christian group came forward claiming that Disney was slipping sexy subliminal messages into their films.
The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and The Lion King have all been targeted by a group called the American Life League.
They claimed that Aladdin was demanding teenagers to disrobe.
Good teenagers take off your clothes.
This priest in The Little Mermaid was visibly aroused
at the sight of the bride. Right here is where we want to be looking.
And Simba was desperate to get some
sex. Here's the S, the E, and the X.
He doesn't have to hunt for it, it's there.
Instead of desperate for what? SFX? Special effects? Sound effects? What the animators? That's weird. Why would you draw that up there? That one's on you.
Perfect.
The rest was utter bullshit. Aladdin was telling the tiger to take off and go. That's just the priest's snobby knee. And Simba clearly had some sort of sound effects related lion depression. I don't know. Fundamentalist Christian groups also don't typically like gay people or the companies that support them. And don't even get them started on this whole Satan thing.
Satan?
Actually, I don't believe in Satan.
What else don't you believe in? America?
So it stands to reason they may have also started that part of the bull legend. Sadly, Disney eventually caved and changed each one of these scenes for future releases, altering these films forever at their own time and expense. Brandolini's law applies. So if there's a moral to any of this, try not to spread bullshit. If you read or hear a story about something as salacious as this, challenge it. Look into it, research it if you can. And if your local church lady tells you that a shiny shaft is the work of gay Satanists, maybe just ignore her.
Satan?
The Little Mermaid has cemented itself as a true Disney classic. It spawned a direct-to-video sequel in 2000, then a prequel in 2008, and eventually got the live-action remake treatment in 2023. To promote the new version, Disney had movie posters created that are clear homages to the original animated ones. And yikes, are they bleak. I mean, look at these. It's like somebody just sucked the fun right out of them. Wow, was this movie directed by Zack Snyder? You know what, I'm saying it right now. These could have used a fire. A fire would have improved these.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Jonathan, and this is Paper and Light. Please like and subscribe if you think I've earned it, and if you want to support me even more, I have some exciting news. I've got a brand new merch store. can find all sorts of interesting movie poster apparel and accessories. We got sweaters, shirts, buttons, coasters, patches, you name it. There are links directly below and in the video description. Also, over on my Patreon, I'm going to be giving away this very VHS. Yes, this historically engorged videotape could be yours. Just head over to my Patreon to find out how. Well, thanks for watching, everyone, and remember, when it comes to movies and movie posters, there is so much to celebrate, and I can't wait to show you more.
Like a man.
Yeah, I know.
The story kept getting worse and worse, you know, like it was a game of telephone. The artist who did it was a Satan worshiper, and Disney caught him conducting satanic rituals in the office after hours, and they fired him. And the Little Mermaid video was the last thing he was working on when they fired him, so that was like his final screw you to Disney for letting him go.